In 1995, Florida Blue Key was sued by graduate student Charles Grapski, who claimed there was a campaign of slander against his candidacy for student body president. Grapski charged that some of the members of Florida Blue Key conspired to publish a falsified criminal record. One of the alleged conspirators, John McGovern, later became student body president himself. But 2 years later, Florida Blue Key was found guilty in court of defamation of character and conspiracy to defame, and held liable for damages in what would amount to over $6 million. As a candidate for the House of Representatives, Grapski was in Alachua County listening to the concerns of residents there, and while overseeing an election, found a series of legal violations. In an effort to examine the public elections records as permitted under the law, Charlie was ambushed and unlawfully arrested by city manager / police commissioner Clovis Watson, a one-time Mr. Gainesville. If only the city had allowed Grapski what he was entitled to under the law, to examine the public records, the matter would have been put to rest in a 1-hour sitting. But they didn't do that. Now look at the mess they're in. In this profile, we'll examine Mr. Grapski and the cast of characters in Alachua city government. This is Miller Vision.
Not the Internment theater. That's not right. It's on and El Nino.
And my guest today is Charles Grapski, who is a friend of mine and a citizen activist and a candidate
for the Alachua City Commission.
For the Alachua City Commission, formerly a candidate of the House.
State House, yes.
But then something happened.
I went to Alachua, that's what happened.
You went to Alachua and you found out about the good old boy system.
I found out that there was a good old boy system there, well entrenched and quite active and alive.
Why do you want to mess with success over there? They're doing fine without you. They hate you.
They do.
Why do they hate you? You're the nicest, one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
I don't think they've met me that way. The thing in Alachua is, I mean, it's just, if I walk into a place and I see something wrong, I have to do something about it. It's just my nature.
You know, me too. I'm funny like that.
Yeah. And I happened to walk into Alachua as literally the first thing I did in my campaign for the State House was to go to Alachua, which was part of my district. And I went there on their election day in order to see if I could get them to sign ballot access petitions. And people came to me with horror stories. I mean, some people were actually literally in tears telling me that they feared retaliation by the police department in Alachua or by the government if they actually took a stand in opposition to one of the people who were incumbents. And they also told me about a history of election problems, particularly with absentee ballots, and I agreed to go and watch their election process that night. And what I saw there just astounded me. They didn't follow a single one of Florida's laws.
There's a good old boy system here that's been in effect for a long time, and it's a system of patronage, it's a system of intimidation and fear, and go along to get along type politics where people are afraid to speak their minds and they're afraid to exercise their rights, really, because of the consequences. People can lose their jobs, or they can be denied, their relatives can be denied a job, or they can have problems with the city, with the code enforcement, or that sort of thing happens if you open your mouth here.
And you've been sort of the eyes and ears following Grapski with your camera. What has that experience been like, and how did that come about?
Well, actually, it started off, we didn't really intend to document all this, but it became a necessity because we found that every time something happened, beginning with his arrest when he was inspecting public records, we found that the story of what happened, according to the officials, was always different from what actually happened. And it was a good thing that Charlie had his digital recorder with him when he went on the initial visit, because what he was charged, what Clovis Watson said happened, his own tape, his own recording proved, was different from what the official. I mean, he actually perjured himself on the arrest report.
And so that's what started
That started the ball rolling.
The last year of this odyssey.
Wow. Well, we are going to meet the cast and characters of this sordid drama and right after we order our wine and cheese. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Okay, now, with all due respect, and I know it looked like I'm being recorded, which I don't mind if I'm being recorded.
I just left it on since we...
That's fine with me, but I like to be told I'm going to be recorded prior to that, so I don't. It's not legal for you to record me without telling me.
Actually, it is.
By the way, you don't mind that we're recording this, do you?
Well, I could be like Clovis and then on Monday of next week arrest you for secretly recording me, even though I seen that you're recording me and I acknowledged that you're recording me. And
let's talk about that. You went to make a records request, which you were entitled to do as a citizen in Alachua County, and you brought a tape recorder with you, presumably to record the events so that if it came down to it, you would have some evidence as to what happened.
correct?
And you were later arrested, a week later, in what some would call an ambush arrest, where they said, oh, come on down, see the records, and then while you're looking, they arrest you for recording surreptitiously, they say, the events of the week before.
Right.
But you have Clovis Watson on that same tape acknowledging and pretty much giving tacit approval for the fact that he is being recorded.
Right. As well as the law says that even if he didn't know, and even if he didn't give his consent, I had a right to record him.
But he did give his consent.
But he did.
Okay, now, with all due respect, and I know it looked like I'm being recorded, which I don't mind if I'm being recorded.
I just left it on since we...
That's fine with me, but I like to be told I'm going to be recorded prior to that, so I don't. It's not legal for you to record me without telling me.
Actually, it is.
The wine has arrived. The wine is here. It's an hour show. We got to eat time.
Hey, in vino veritas.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but thank you for saying
In wine,
it.
there's truth.
In wine, there is truth.
Yeah.
Cheers. I agree with that.
No, it's literally, it's been like, I mean, I lived outside of Alachua for now 22 years. I've lived in Gainesville. Alachua was 11 miles away. I had no idea what's going on up there. And ever since I got there, it's been like waking up on the wrong side of the Carl Hyacin novel. Because he couldn't write this stuff, and because people wouldn't believe it was true. It's too strange. I mean, this is a case where the truth is far stranger than any fiction could ever be. But, I mean, that's sort of a...
You know, we get stories in Gainesville about you on almost a daily basis, and I read them, and I think to myself, this is unbelievable, because what you are doing are things you're entitled to do under the law, and things that are expected of you as a citizen and as an activist, and certainly as a candidate, to unearth what's wrong in government, and to do it legally, and I think fairly, and they say aggressively. I've seen you. You know, this is you being aggressive.
Yeah.
You know, oh boy, you know, I mean, I'm not scared of you. I think I could take you in a fair fight. Why did it take 4 cops and a taser gun to drag your limp, lifeless body out of the city commission meeting?
It's a good question. I think the answer is it didn't take them that to carry me out, but it did take them to accomplish what they wanted to do, which is to intimidate the public from standing up. They want people to know that if you try and be a troublemaker, which is to question or to ask us for things we don't want to give you, then we will take action, and nobody's going to hold us to account.
Well, I met Charlie the day of the election last year, the April election in 2006, and he came to Alachua. He was collecting signatures, I believe, and talking to people about his candidacy. He was going to run for a state rep.
Right, until he came to Alachua and got derailed.
Well, he came to Alachua and he talked to an awful lot of people, and I guess he found out that, you know, some people here were not happy with the way elections are being, you know, run here. So, but that's the first time I met him.
He doesn't scare the hell out of you, does he, Charlie? He threaten or intimidate you?
I'm not afraid of much of anything or anybody, but Charlie sure doesn't scare me at all.
There's one other thing to say about that tasering incident too, is you'll see that if you watch the video, you'll see it's the chief of police, who behind him is standing the police commissioner, who's the city manager, Clovis Watson, supervising this. He orders the officer to pull out the taser, and you see him pointed at me, and it was that officer who wound up resisting what the chief was encouraging him to do and effectively ordering him to do. The only thing that kept me from being tasered was that officer saying something's not right here. And the officer himself just sort of didn't pull the trigger. But you've got a real problem. I mean, this is not a case where you have, you know, the officer on the street making a mistake and then the higher-ups trying to cover up for him. This is a case in which you have the chief of police and the police commissioner attempting to misuse the law and the force that they are entitled to carry around. And the officers are just as much victims in this case as I was and as the citizens were.
So Charlie, are you banned from Alachua County at this point? Is that what I read?
Well, what happened was when I was running for the State House and got arrested for felony wiretapping for openly recording a public official doing public business, which after 9 months was finally thrown out when I forced it into court. But for 9 months, the court had me banished at the request of the city of Alachua from the city limits, even though I was living there, and even though I was running for the State House of Representatives to represent it. Banished.
And that was because you were wagging your finger too threateningly?
Because they said that they feared my presence when I walked into City Hall. And so I was literally prevented from going. I mean, the only thing that I had done in City Hall at that time was, one, review the absentee ballots and then get arrested while I was reviewing the absentee ballots. And two, I went to a city commission meeting where they were going to violate the rules and the law, and I made a point of order, which is a point under Robert's Rules of Order, which is adopted by the city. I said, Madam Mayor, point of order. She banged the gavel. She said, Mr. Grapski, you're out of order. I said, well, no, actually, you're out of order. That's why I'm making a point of order.
You're out of order.
Yes.
She's out of order.
Yes.
They're out of order.
The whole system's out of order.
Out of order.
That's right, Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
I think that line sums up what's going on in this case.
Man, it is out of order, isn't it?
But
Alachua County.
But
Okay.
when the court dismissed the case, and literally it took the judge 5 minutes to throw it out, Judge Curtin, but when that was dismissed, the banishment was lifted, and I legally could go and get gas in my own hometown again.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But in December, they started a new tactic, and it started first in the offices of Rush and Glassman. I went in to make a public records request to see certain files because Rush and Glassman is the city attorney.
Right.
And Marion Rush, instead of actually asking me what I want and taking the public records request, called the police to have me thrown out of there and then ban me for a year from going back.
Unreal. Why is Robert Rush doing this case? He's a guy on the side of right. This is a guy that he's in the wrong team. What's he doing over there? You know, I know Robert Rush, and I don't understand why he is on that side of the team.
Well, a lot of us have been wondering the same thing, and a lot of people have been very, very disappointed with Robert's behavior in this. But what happened is Robert Rush got the position of city attorney, contracted to his law firm.
So he has to do it.
And he's assigned his sister the role of the day-to-day work of the city attorney. And he just takes on any defense case, even though they never actually ask him to do it. And there's a conflict of interest, particularly since his sister is getting him into a lot of these problems, giving them bad legal advice.
Is everybody in Alachua County related to each other?
Yeah, I learned today that Robert Rush is so fearful for his life and safety that he's gone to the court after erupting in the courtroom the other day, and we've got video of that on TV 20.
We'll show it.
But after erupting in the courtroom, he's now asked for the court to enter a protective order to protect him from me. So that way I can't go anywhere near him or his firm, and he's already got a trespass. The state attorney actually tried to do the same thing when I was representing myself as my own attorney in the wiretapping case. They said that because I was demanding to actually coordinate the depositions like I was required to do under law, and to share copies of the filings with the opposing attorney, that was somehow stalking the state attorney and his secretary, and they needed the court to enter a protective order to protect the state attorney and now the city attorney from my dangerous presence.
Well, let's take a look at that video now of what caused this action to happen and see just how threatening it really was to our audience.
Okay.
Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Don't get in my face again, sir. I'm going to call
That's Grapski and the city's attorney, Robert Rush, a few weeks ago after city officials said incomplete paperwork disqualified Grapski and 2 other candidates. Today, a judge said the candidates' original paperwork did qualify them. He said that also means that Grapski can't change his paperwork to run in a different district against unopposed Mayor Gene Calderwood. Today, both sides claimed victory.
The city can't kick him out of City Hall anymore like they tried to do, and Judge Roundtree basically made him go home with their tail between the legs.
It only validates that the city certainly did the right thing. We did the right thing by having an emergency meeting to allow the applicants on the ballot.
Months ago, city officials banned Charles Grapski from City Hall for what they called inappropriate behavior there. Today, the judge was prepared to rule on that, but now says the city says that he was actually banned for only 1 day.
You've sort of got a confluence, and this is really going on in Alachua too. You have an old good old boy system and a new good old boy system coming together. The old ones have been here forever. The new ones are now this Alachua County is poised to be the sort of staging ground for the South Floridization of North Florida.
So do we like the new good old boy system better than the old good old boy system?
Good old boy systems are good old boy systems. They're antiquated dinosaurs that need to be extinct.
And hence, Citizen Grapski arrives.
Yeah.
Wow, look at the cheese plate. Did I plug the wine and cheese gallery yet? I think I'm doing that now.
Are you guys going to be ordering from the menu as well?
This is it. This is it.
All right, enjoy it.
Thank you very much. Well, we're going to eat some wine and cheese, and we'll be right back with Charles Grapski.
Now, we were told that there was a 3-ring binder that was being used during the election to record information about absentee ballots. Is that correct?
It was an aid, and it was part of the way we did it. We did it, as I said before, with notes, stickies, word of mouth, because there were 2 of us, and sometimes, not very often, a 3rd person would take care.
And where is that 3-ring binder now?
Probably assimilated back into the earth, because it was disposed of along with all the other miscellaneous parts that went to compile the final listing.
Yeah, this is the High Springs Herald, which actually is a weekly local newspaper that has done a great job. It's been the best news coverage of this story. And you can see on this one day right before the elections case was going to go to trial from last year's election, they did 4 stories picking up the front page.
Right.
And many of these photos are from our video depositions.
This is all related to you.
This is all related to Alachua and me and what's been going on. This is Gene Calderwood. She's the mayor.
Okay.
Who was first appointed by Jeb Bush to fill that seat.
Right. Does she have a taser?
She doesn't have a taser.
Okay, just checking.
But she's the one who threw me out of the meeting that caused me to get into the taser incident.
I see.
This is Clovis Watson.
He has a taser.
He carries 2 guns. He's the city manager, but he's also the police commissioner, the city clerk, the canvassing board member, the supervisor of the elections, which he's actually given to his deputy clerk, Alan Henderson.
That's how they do it on the Andy Griffith Show. What's wrong with that?
Well,
one guy with 6 positions.
This ain't Maybury. but James Lewis and another group of these good old boys have been basically using that city as a public investment firm for themselves for the past several generations, and now that new good old boy system with the Walmarts and the big dollar money coming in for the growth of North Florida and Jeb's great, get rid of the Panhandle and call it the Great Northwest. All of that stuff is now getting that sort of development interest into this corrupt little town. Oh, Alan Henderson. Alan Henderson, who lives in Gainesville, he is the deputy clerk under Clovis Watson. Henderson is the effective supervisor of elections, of the city elections, and last year they just messed the whole thing up. I mean, there was a combination of incompetence and inappropriate activities.
Would this article have come out had you not shown up in that town?
No, none of this would be going on had I not.
And because they're wondering about it, there's kernels of truth. There's something going on.
Oh yeah, there's something going on in Alachua.
You're cooking the steak there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of vegetarians in Alachua though, so you get a lot of the Christians.
Well, you're sauteing the tofu.
There you go.
This move of yours, I'd like to learn this move, because if I could get this kind of fear instilled in our government, maybe they would change. Maybe they would start listening to the citizens and stop giving themselves raises when they're not performing their tasks as well as they should. I want to learn the move. Will you teach me the move? I want to learn the move. This is the move, right? Am I doing it right?
Well, if that's what does it,
is this it?
Mr. Miller. I think it's probably more like this. It's the wag of the finger, you know.
Man, the power of the wag.
But they do bring that up a lot.
That's very threatening.
Mr. Watson, are you going to receive this request?
Sir, you need to leave City Hall.
Who in the city? Who in the city will discuss public records with me?
We have responded through your attorney.
I do not have an attorney in this matter.
Yes, sir,
And my attorney that you're referring to has responded back to your attorney,
could you lower your voice,
and has stated that he
please?
does not represent you in this case.
Could you please lower your voice?
I have a public records request. I have a right under Chapter 1. I'm
leave?
not speaking with you at the moment.
We know that Charlie was trying to get these records for the longest time, and they say they have nothing to hide, but then they don't produce the records. And when he finally got in and he was starting to see them, they ambushed him and had him arrested. Clovis, the city manager, also being a police officer. And then now tell us what you heard about this other story where something happened after a request of the records at the city hall.
Something happened after the request
of the records, right? The city hall caught on fire.
Yeah. I mean that kind of happened. This was in the middle of the night. I was getting ready to go to bed, and my son Michael had been out, and he comes in. I think it was about 11:30, and he said rather excitedly, "There's a big fire down at City Hall." He said, "There's all kinds of people there and the fire trucks," and then I heard other sirens, and there was one coming from across, and I thought, wow, you know. So he went back down with his video camera, and that was, you know, it's on a Sunday night. So it was kind of a surprise to me, especially with, you know, fire station being right next door. I didn't think, and then the other thing too, I thought, well, they must have fire alarm, you know, whatever you call them.
Right.
In the building, there should have been something like that, but apparently there wasn't.
So no fire alarms. The fire station is right across the street, and
no, it's right beside.
Right next to it.
Yeah, right next to it.
And Charlie, where did this fire? It was deemed that it started where?
It started with the computers,
which hold
the records that I asked for on Wednesday.
On the previous Wednesday.
So Wednesday I asked for the records. Right. Thursday, I see somebody in the office actually downloading the records and deleting them from one computer, and made a mention of that. Friday, I get locked in the office of Alan Henderson when I'm trying to get. He locks me in his office rather than out of his office when I try to get records. And then on Sunday night, City Hall burns down, starting with the computers.
Flames shot through the roof early this morning at Alachua City Hall. A large fire engulfed the entire building, completely destroying some rooms and important equipment. WCJB's Ann Emanuel is live at the scene to tell us exactly what happened. Ann?
Well, Amanda, investigators are still here trying to figure out just that. But right now, it does look like an accidental electrical fire.
It's been an up and down year in the city of Alachua. City leaders have brought in a number of major business initiatives, but they've also faced a running legal controversy with UF doctoral student Charlie Grapski. This morning, another down note, City Hall was badly damaged by fire. WCJB's Ann Emanuel tells us city officials are working to make sure it's still business as usual.
Well, David, the unusual part is that the city will be working out of a number of different locations for the time being. The building isn't safe to go inside, and they may never work from that office again.
Due to a morning fire at City Hall, Alachua City Commissioners had tonight's meeting at an elementary school. Find out why some say the fire is a conspiracy.
You're facing an organization that's been around doing things their way for their own advantages for a long, long time, and you're beginning to discover that there are cracks in the shell. There are problems with the egg. And speaking of eggs, I've got a fantastic video that we're also going to get into. It's called the egg defense. It's the only viable defense against this.
What can I do for you guys?
Well, you promised to have a meeting with us a long time ago, and
Well,
you're not even returning my phone
right,
call
but
or
I've
my
been
email.
advised by the city attorney that we cannot have those discussions. I think she put it in writing to your attorney.
Well, my attorney doesn't represent, I don't have an attorney representing me in this case, in case of public records. You don't have an attorney, you have a city attorney. And the city attorney's job is not to advise you to break the law. In fact, that's a violation of the law themselves. You're not bound by anything the city attorney does. The fact that there's litigation going on does not eliminate the city's responsibility to produce public records upon demand to anyone, including someone who's a party to litigation against the city. Your being in litigation has no bearing on your responsibility as city manager. You have to produce the records. They cannot tell you you can't. We haven't gotten the records. You've promised to make this a model of open government.
I think, well, and I do have a plan for when we move to New City Hall,
I'm not talking about
but we
the
haven't
future.
done that
I'm
yet.
talking
But
about
if you
the
have
now.
a public record request, you do it as everyone does, and we will respond
Oh, that's
appropriately.
fine.
I
Well,
have
like I
done
said,
them as
she
everyone
never-
does. As
she
you
did
know,
not
we made
identify
these
herself,
requests
but I
in
just had a
November,
feeling, you know, I know Susan
and we
said
haven't
no
gotten a
for
response.
But I'm going to
AI
finish my lunch
and
right now.
You can finish your lunch, I don't mind, but I still want to talk to you about getting these records. I want to know where the records are and why I haven't gotten them yet. This is all about asking questions and the fact that I'm demanding answers. And I just want to show you one of the types of questions that we've been trying to get answered that they don't want to answer. This is a report in 2004 from a financial advisor consulting service. And one of the questions we've been asking, for example, is this. Here's a check by the city of Alachua to the city of Alachua. Effectively, they got cash out of the bank for $272,493.92. It's signed by Gib Kerper, who's a current city commissioner and at the time was the mayor, and Tracy Kane, who's just one of the sort of political people on the staff. And neither one of them can tell anybody what this money was for. And this is what's going on in the city of Alachua.
You know, I need $1 million. Did you know that?
I could use $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, in the city of Alachua, if you're part of the system, you can get $1 million. Just go in the bank and take it. The Republican Party of Alachua County and the National Republican Party have a strategy to take blue states or blue communities, Democratic communities, and turn them Republican by getting the African American vote to vote for Republicans because of this claim that they're going to bring jobs, which are connected to Walmart and all that, bringing money into town. And so when I began exposing the city of Alachua, Stafford Jones and the mayor's husband, Hugh Calderwood, took the Republican Executive Committee of Alachua and said that they were going to draw a line in the sand on the city of Alachua. And I sort of revealed what was going on behind the scenes, and after that, Clovis Watson and the Republican Party came forward and openly admitted that they've got what they're calling Operation Red, and that is they want to turn Alachua County, one of the two Democratic strongholds in the state of Florida, into a Republican county by going outside of Gainesville and taking over all the small towns, starting with Alachua, and converting it into a Republican-leaning county. So that's Operation Red.
Well, certainly. I'd just like to thank everyone for coming and for us to network together and collaborate on the interests of the people of this county. This county needs to pull together for economic development, economic growth, and we have to prepare this county for our youth. And if we sit around and let those who are diametrically opposed to growth and economic development and positiveness that the Republican Party and the principles that we stand for as Republicans, then we will lose. So I say thank you for coming, thank you for pulling together with us. Certainly I will have a longer message for you at Steve's Cafe, but this is about Operation Red. Operation Red of us turning this county into a red county. This will be Alachua County will be the county of the Republican Party. We cannot stand by idle and let those disagree with us with their ugliness and their hatred. We need to pull together, and no group of people are beholden to no party. Therefore, everyone deserves a choice, and we're going to give them a choice here in Alachua County.
I don't care if it's Charlie Grapski who it was. Any citizen who was treated the way he was the day that he got arrested, when he was seated at a table inspecting records that they had allowed him to look at, and have him surrounded by police and arrest him and handcuff him while he's seated, I would have gone to bat for him no matter who it was, because that kind of thing should never, ever have happened in our city hall or in any city hall anywhere in this country, if it's the kind of country that everybody says it is, that we have freedom of speech and democracy. Hey, so that's why I'm involved in the situation, because, you know, he was unjustly and illegally arrested to begin with, and then they do it again just a little while later.
With a taser gun.
And, yeah, getting ready to taser him, which, you know, fortunately, you know, the officer apparently had second thoughts or refused the order, I don't know, but Carol was there watching as they were doing this, and cautioned them not to do that.
We've got that videotape, and we'll take a look at that too.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, these kinds of things happening here in this city are what we're trying to prevent from happening again. And perhaps we will make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody else.
Now that's you that we hear yelling in the video of Charlie getting arrested and tasered, not to taser him. Is that right?
Yes.
You think the officer would have tasered Charlie if you hadn't been there?
He might have. I should have, what I thought about later, I should have said the whole world is watching. But I didn't think about it. I just knew that this man was in trouble, and he didn't do anything to warrant the arrest, and he wasn't violent. In fact, he cooperated with Chief Jernigan in giving him his hand, you know, to put the handcuffs on.
Oh, I read he kicked two of the officers.
No, he didn't. I mean, I was right there. He was struggling because of the way they were holding him, but he wasn't kicking anybody. Charlie can be very abrasive sometimes, but Charlie is not violent. He's a very kind person, and that's the last thing he would want to do to anybody.
When you get up here, people will listen to you, but your actions speak louder than your words. And right now, no one's wanting to listen to things that some people are saying because of how they're coming across. People would listen, and I encourage people to go to this website that he stated, because this last little episode of coming to the city of Alachua and coming in to the office of Clovis Watson while he is eating lunch and demanding anything. You don't demand, you request, you ask. When you start demanding, the gentleman was eating lunch, and he even asked, can you please come back? But no, he sits down and points his fingers and demands. I encourage people to go and look at that website and look what Clovis Watson has to go through every day from this person. It's disgusting that I heard that he's living here in the city of Alachua, and I hope that's not true, because we don't need people like that in the city of Alachua. And Clovis, I commend you for handling yourself better than I would. You know, they're scared that I'm going to run for commission. They don't want me to run for commission because I couldn't handle it like you do.
Thank you, Ms. Gill. The floor is still open for public comment. Mr. Grapski, I'm talking to a person in the audience. I have asked you not to disrupt. I'm not disrupting you. Yes, you are. They do not want the material. Chief Jernigan, would you ask Mr. Grapski to leave? That I have seen Ms.
I'm standing here saying nothing, doing nothing. I
saw Ms. Hammond and Ms. Atkins shake their heads.
So she shook her head and I turned around.
And they continue to ignore it. No, you did not. Mr. Grapski, we are asking you to leave. We are asking you to leave.
I'm going to arrest you. Madam Mayor, I am here to participate in a public meeting.
Mr. Grapski, Mr. Grapski, you are leaving the room.
I have done nothing to Jernigan arrest me.
Out of order.
I'm not out of order. You're out of order by talking to me. I didn't do it. You've been singling me out. You've been singling me out since the beginning of this meeting. I am cooperating. I sat there, I said something to someone in the audience which is not disruptive of the meeting, which would be a violation of my rights for Mr. Jernigan over here to be escorting me out, for you to be having me. That's good. He can't even put on the handcuffs. I'm going to do what Joe Little advised me to do when this happens, is to sit here and not just sit here and, you know, I'm not going to get up. You're going to have to take me. That's what I've been advised to do by lawyer. So go ahead and take me. Go ahead and take me.
Please get this on video.
No, please get it on video. I've done nothing wrong. I'm sitting down.
Another officer.
That's fine. I've been advised that this is what I'm supposed to do when you attempt to have me removed from the meeting without cause.
In this particular activity, we're going to just recess for 5 minutes and give Mr. Grapski an opportunity to remove himself from the room.
I can't remove myself. You have had to put handcuffs on me.
You can walk out.
Then take off the handcuffs.
We will resume the meeting in 5 minutes.
I have a right to be here. I do have a right to be here. And I didn't do anything in violation of the rules. Now this is a staged event by Ms. Calderwood, who, with you and Mr. Watson this afternoon, have attempted to do the same thing earlier.
Mr. Grapski and Mr. Caney, you're welcome to get this on the camera. We have asked you to cooperate. We have asked you not to deprive the other people of their rights.
When I spoke to this woman, but that's not your role to sit there and say, when I speak to someone and she says she doesn't want to get something and I turn around. No, I wasn't disrupting the meeting. I wasn't standing up loudly screaming. People are talking back and forth. These people are talking all the time.
He can walk on his own feet.
I will be.
Ask another officer.
That's what you're going to have to do.
To throw him out.
That's what you're going to do.
I'm not asking for him to be arrested. I'm asking him to leave the school.
Okay, would you explain that to Mr. Jernigan?
I am explaining that to Mr. Jernigan. I'm asking him to take you and make sure that you leave the school property. Alachua Elementary has a civility policy.
Alachua Elementary School is not
don't interrupt me, Mr. Grapski. Do not interrupt me.
But Alachua Elementary is not, the policies of Alachua Elementary School don't have anything to do with the rules and procedures of the city.
Here, we're asking for Mr. Grapski either to walk on his own feet and leave the meeting, or you can help him leave the meeting. And
well, I'm here to give testimony in a quasi-judicial hearing, and you're using this to deny me the ability to be here. Sure you are. You're denying me the ability to be here for no reason. You've created the scene, not me. It's called my rights. That's not crazy. And I did not ask.
Please don't. You shouldn't be saying anything.
Mr. Brady, I can say anything I want.
No, you know, unfortunately, everybody was organized.
You have no authority on
Tennessee.
this. So why are you?
You know that's really a problem, isn't it? You went to City Hall today.
I shouldn't talk.
You harassed everybody today at City Hall.
This is your opinion.
Now you've brought these two people involved.
This is your opinion.
You've gone cordially. You have harassed everybody in the city.
You don't have any more right to talk than he does.
I'm trying to be really nice.
I've asserted my right as a
You harassed too many people.
Hey,
that's wrong.
You know,
you shouldn't have done.
You don't have any more right than he does to be mouthing off.
Contain criminal evidence in a number of cases. We have proof that members of the City Commission and Mr. Watson have violated the law. Ms. Rush is refusing to allow them to provide us the records as a defense, claiming that because there's litigation, although not in this matter, that they're going to refuse to have any public records activities here. Now you've heard the mayor say that she didn't ask to arrest me. Did you not?
I'm arresting you for trespass after warning.
But the mayor didn't ask me.
You don't have to.
Well, we'll have to do it in court. I'm not doing it.
Arrested.
It's fine.
He needs to be arrested.
Michael, do me a favor? Call the sheriff, will you please? Excuse me, you're putting up circulation. You're going to get up. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. Michael, keep videotaping this, please. Michael, you see, I'm not resisting, but they're threatening me. He says, yes, I am. Now, you're cutting off the circulation to my wrist there, sir. You're cutting off the circulation. All you gotta do is get up and stay up, but I'm not going to because I have a right to be here. You're ripping my jacket. You just ripped my jacket. You just ripped my jacket. You just ripped my jacket. You're gonna taser me?
Yeah, don't get up.
And he's asking for me to be tasered, Michael. Michael, videotape this. I am not, you can take me to jail, but I am not going to go with you. I am not, I'm just grabbing your shoulder. I want to be tasered, come on, man.
You're not resisting.
I am not resisting arrest. Excuse me. That's not resisting.
Passively resisting.
I am resisting an unlawful arrest. In fact, the mayor told the chief of police not to arrest me. You're cutting off the circulation. Don't do that. Do not stop kicking. I didn't kick.
Stop kicking your officers.
Kick. You understand me? On video, did I kick you?
Stop kicking.
Do not say I'm kicking you if I didn't. Do not force me.
Grab him under the arm.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, you're cutting off the circulation to my wrist. Sir, I can't. Cutting off the circulation to my wrist, officer. I can't tell your name. What's your name, officer? I'm not doing anything. No, you're dropping my stuff. That's my point.
I got it. Could you step back? Are you still videotaping?
Now you're going to have to remove these cuffs because you have twisted them around my wrist in such a way that it is harming my circulation. Please back up. Officer, you're going to have to adjust these handcuffs.
No. Sorry, Charlie. Sorry about that.
I'm not intending to be intimidating. I didn't think I was a bully.
We have a right to access them, and we are being denied those records. I will hereby give you the letter.
Mr. Grapski, if you could hand it to the staff, to the clerk, Ms. Morgan, please. No, Mr. Grapski, Mr. Grapski, Mr. Grapski, this will be the only time that I will ask you to please cooperate with the commission. This will be the only warning that I'm going to give you.
If you can provide me the rule I just broke, then
Mr. Grapski. Thank you, Mr. Grapski, for your comments. The floor is still open for anyone that would like to make comments.
Good afternoon, commissioners, our city manager, and everyone else in their respective place.
State your name and speak a little louder.
Thelma Hammond.
Thank you.
Citizen of Alachua, Florida, born and raised here.
Thank you.
And I'm up here to congratulate you all and to commend you all for the work you have done and what you're still doing. And I want you to know that the majority of the citizens here in Alachua, Florida regrets very much as to the agitation and the thrown in the flush as being presented to you all by certain people here in this city of Alachua. I want you to know that we do not conform to this kind of ridiculous situation that's going on. We are not pleased with it, and we're here to back you up in every given situation that we can, because we are tired. We are very much so tired of the agitation that you city officials are getting from certain citizens here in this state, in this city. The city has 4 gateways, north, south, east, and west. And we that was born and raised here, blood shedded here, sweat equity, and everything else here in Alachua, we really are tired of this every time we come to a commission meeting, and the statements that are being put in the papers and every other source of information. We are very much tired of the agitation that's going on. And I hope that in some way that the law can come up with some kind of remedy to alleviate this agitation, because we are tired of it too. And for those that do not want to participate and reside in the place that they are so discomfortable or not pleased with, as I forestated, there's 4 gates to this city, and each one of them will lead them out. If they're dissatisfied, they want you going somewhere else, because we're tired of it too.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Mr. Grapski, please don't speak from the floor. The floor is, Mr. Grapski, I have given you, Chief Jernigan, if Mr. Grapski disrupts the meeting again, I would ask you to escort him out. Stop now. Ms. Kenyon?
Teresa Kenyon. I really don't need to say anything about a law that needs to be broken. It's called common courtesy. When you come here, you got something to say. If you conduct yourself like an adult and you act like an adult, people listen to you. When you disrupt, you don't act like an adult, you act like a child. Well, we are in an elementary school, so that fits at home. But when you get up here, people will listen to you, but your actions speak louder than your words. And right now, no one's wanting to listen to things that some people are saying because of how they're coming across. People would listen, and I encourage people to go to this website that he stated, because this last little episode of coming to the city of Alachua and coming in to the office of Clovis Watson while he is eating lunch and demanding anything. You don't demand, you request, you ask. When you start demanding, the gentleman was eating lunch, and he even asked, can you please come back? But no, he sits down and points his fingers and demands. I encourage people to go and look at that website and look what Clovis Watson has to go through every day from this person. It's disgusting that I heard that he's living here in the city of Alachua, and I hope that's not true, because we don't need people like that in the city of Alachua. And Clovis, I commend you for handling yourself better than I would. You know, they're scared that I'm going to run for commission. They don't want me to run for commission because I couldn't handle it like you do.
Thank you, Ms. Kenyon. The floor is still open for public comment. Mr. Grapski, I have asked you not to disrupt. Yes, you are. They do not want the material. Chief Jernigan, would you ask Mr. Grapski to leave? I have seen Ms. Hammond. I saw Ms. Hammond and Ms. Atkins shake their heads saying, and they continue to ignore it. No, you did not. You tried. Mr. Grapski, we are asking you to leave. We are asking you to leave the meeting right now.
Madam Mayor, I am here to participate in a public meeting.
Mr. Grapski, I have warned you. Mr. Grapski, you are leaving the room now. You are out of order.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to Robert Jernigan. Okay.
Charlie, I put everything in the report, as detailed as I could. Okay? That's all I put everything in there, and you've got a copy of it.
I know. But what's not in there is how you came to be involved in this.
I am chief of this department. I have a right to look at any case, Charlie.
Right. And in other words, as you can see, if you take a look at the report of the night,
Charlie,
the case was closed before you got involved.
Well, not really.
The case was closed before you got involved.
Not really, because they still had to check.
Did the manager of Kangaroo ask you to get involved?
No.
Did you have a warrant to go to my bank?
I thought you got your record.
I know it's on.
You can show. You want to hide it.
It's not hidden. It was in front of you the whole time.
I told you in there. I called the bank and just asked if there was sufficient funds to cash the checks. Let me finish.
Under what authority? That's my private...
They didn't have to tell you. That was their choice.
But you had no authority to...
Well, I haven't
Did anybody ask you to do that?
I did that.
Did Clovis Watson ask you to do that?
I'm not going to answer any more questions about that.
Does Clovis Watson give you orders?
He is my boss.
I understand.
Okay?
But what I am interested in today is a criminal act, as I am the victim of a crime. Whether you be the person who is responsible ultimately for committing the crime or not, I'm a victim of a crime. So I would like the NPD to investigate who...
No, sir, we're not doing any investigation.
So I am here because somebody in the city of Alachua obtained a police report before it went public. Put that on Mr. Calderwood, whose son works for you and whose wife is a commissioner.
Mr. Charlie, I'm going to ask you to leave.
Well, I'm not going to leave, Mr.
I'm going to ask you to leave. If you don't...
I'm asking to file a criminal...
Sir, we're not filing anything. Okay?
We're not filing... Do I have rights?
We're not filing...
Do I have rights, Mr. Jernigan? Do I have rights, Mr. Jernigan? Then I would like to speak to the next... Scott, you just witnessed that I got locked out of the police department. I would like to speak to a police officer. Come here. I would like to speak to the... I would like to speak to a police officer.
You don't leave right now.
I would like... On what grounds?
If you don't leave right now, I'm asking you. If you don't leave right now, I'm going to arrest you for trespass.
Trespassing because I'm trying to file a criminal complaint against you. I would like to speak to... I'm asking you to leave. I'd like to speak to the next person in the...
You're not speaking to anybody.
I would like to speak to the next person in the chain of command.
You're not speaking to anybody.
I would like to speak to the next person in the chain of command.
I'm going to give you another warning.
I would like...
You have to leave or I'm arresting you for trespass as I'm warning.
Will you call the sheriff's office?
You want to go to jail?
Mr. Jernigan has his hand on me.
You want to go to jail?
Is he under arrest? Am I under arrest?
Are you going to leave?
Are you going to leave? I am here to file a criminal complaint. I would like to speak to the next person in the chain of command below Robert Jernigan.
You're not speaking to anybody else.
I am asking to file a criminal complaint against this gentleman.
Talking to the chief.
I am asking to file a criminal complaint against the chief. I would like to speak to the next person in the chain of command. Is your brother Gene Calderwood?
You're under arrest.
Did you provide Mr. Jernigan with any... Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm not doing anything. Excuse me. I'm trying to... Go get him. Have you seen me trying to resist their arrest? I'm letting you arrest me, you goddamn fucking schmuck. Mr. Bart, let me take it back. Stop this. You just hit me. You just hit me in the wall.
Come on.
You just hit me. Call the sheriff. Call the sheriff. Call the sheriff.
Morning, Mr. Grapski.
Good morning.
You have one case, and it looks like 6 charges: disturbing the peace, trespassing, 3 counts of battery on an officer, and 1 of resisting with violence. Do you understand what you're charged with, sir?
I hear what you're saying.
One concern the state has is that Mr. Grapski's acts of civil disobedience are getting more violent and irrational over the last several months. I anticipate he's going to come back to court. My concern is the safety of the community and his psychological condition at this point in time as to whether there's going to be any further acts of violence.
I've committed no act of violence. You and I were at the same event about a week ago at the City Hall of Alachua at the opening. Did I pose a threat to the citizens? Did I pose a threat to you? No. Go ahead, grab your papers. No, we're still before the judge.
Mr. Grapski, I'm not going to engage in a question-and-answer series here like this.
Well, I'd simply like to, I don't believe that a psychological evaluation...
Give me your bond, let's go.
Your Honor,
it's not time, let's go.
I'm speaking to the
judge.
Let's go. Your Honor, have you asked me to be removed by the sheriff?
Let's go.
Please, I'm speaking to the judge.
Jail, the state has one more comment, I believe. Okay. Any questions?
I'll talk to him after court.
Okay. Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah, I just want to know how long would it take for me to be extradited back?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How long would it take for me to be extradited back to Georgia?
Well, if you want to wait extradition, it'll be faster, but normally it's about a 90-day waiting period. Normally, they have 90 days to come and get you and have the hearing and bring you back. If you do not wait.
We have an incident going on, so it's very hard to hear.
Okay. I'm sorry. Did you have your question answered, sir?
Yeah. Yes, I just want to speak with her when I get a chance.
I'll talk to him after, Paul. Just stand over here.
They're tasing at me.
Okay. Wait about 5 minutes, Your Honor.
Yeah, can you hear?
We're having difficulties with the noise.
Can you close the door?
We're going to close the door.
Okay.
Okay.